Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's set of graded learning and assignments. You're probably going to find, probably to your delight, that this week is lighter compared to many other weeks. This is in terms of both workload and challenge. Keep in mind that any lecture videos about Aristotle's virtue ethics are recycled from the spring. I'm still building this as an online course. I have not offered ethics online in a long time. And so unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to redo some lectures I had to do on an emergency basis for spring and COVID-19, but they are still usable. So make sure that when you're listening to the Aristotle lecture video, I think there's only one and I have you watch it in two segments, just ignore any references to weeks. Like if I say week 14, week 15, ignore any references to writing assignments. I might also say that you already did some tasks during week 13, or I might make a comment that it was really intended for my spring students when the COVID-19 pandemic broke out. That said, all the stuff about Aristotle, all the lecture stuff is still good, it's still viable, it still stands, despite those kind of contextual comments I might have made. So just kind of tune those out. What else do I want to say? Oh, yes. Also, keep in mind that week 12, we will focus on applying Aristotle's virtue ethics. So make sure that you really understand what I say in the lecture video, especially the second segment that I have you watch. In the first segment of the video, I focus more on his metaphysical, ethical presuppositions, just like I do with Kant and Bentham when I was doing those lectures, and to help you understand why he thinks the way he does about, how we think about, morally significant matters or how we should approach the moral life. I'll also be making some points of comparison and contrast, which will actually probably help you better understand each of the theories that we've covered thus far. But I only do that briefly. I just touch on that. I don't go into that in depth. But really, what I really want you to focus on is making sure you understand how his theory works in terms of the golden means, the extremes, virtue and vice and whatnot. So take really good notes and whatnot. What else do I want to say? So in week 12, we will focus, so that's going to be next week, we're going to focus on applying what you learn during the lessons that are coming up in this week's task. So we're going to be applying Aristotle's concept of how he defines virtue with respect to the golden mean, what he thinks of, what he says are, what he describes as a vice in terms of deficit, what he describes as a vice in terms of excess. So that will be part of the lecture. During week 12, in fact, actually, let me backtrack. If you want to get a head start, because you may need only 2 to 3 hours, to be honest, you may need only 2 or 3 hours, maybe 4, to get this week's worth of graded learning and assignments done, you could get a head start for next week. And what you can do is look up the definition for the word aggression. Then what you want to do is look up 5 different definitions for the term. Find 5 definitions that have something unique to say about aggression. So, of course, the definitions are going to have something in common. They might have a few words in common, a phrase in common, but try to find 5 definitions that still each have something unique, a bit of detail that the other one doesn't have, or maybe a point of emphasis that the other one doesn't have, okay? So find 5 definitions, use 5 different sources, okay? Copy and paste the URLs, know where you got it from. You might find that doing so is going to be a good intellectual warm-up for what we're going to be doing during week 12. Oh, also, when you're getting those definitions for aggression, make sure that no version of the word that you're trying to define is in the definition. That's like me telling you that metaphysicians study metaphysics. That doesn't really help you understand what metaphysicians do, because I use the very word or version of the very word that I'm trying to help you shed light on, that is metaphysics. So make sure that those definitions that have the word aggression in it does not have like aggressive, aggressiveness, any version of the word aggression in the definition. Okay, but as I was saying, you might find that in doing so, in coming up with the list, in doing this research in advance, that you'll get a good intellectual warm-up for what we will be doing during week 12, that is applying Aristotle's moral theory. You might even find that getting those definitions as directed is part of what is required in applying Aristotle's virtue ethics during week 12, specifically to the case of Derek Chauvin and the killing of George Floyd. That's all I have for you. Bye.